Some sandwiches are named after the person who originated them, or a prominent appreciator. Whether in the specific, like the sabich, named after the Iraqi Jew who first sold the sandwich in Tel Aviv, the barosluco or baroscharpa, melty Chilean sandwiches of meat and cheese named after early 20th century politicians, or the Larry David sandwich as seen on TV. Or they might be named in general, like the po' boys of New Orleans, named after the poor dock workers and farmers it was originally sold to, or the sandwich de chola, named after the cholitas of Bolivia who sell it on the streets of La Paz. Sandwiches might be named after a key ingredient: a roast beef sandwich, a ham sandwich, egg salad, tuna salad, cheese and pickle, barbecue. Some sandwich names are silly, whether based on descriptions of the sandwich's appearance, like coffin bread in Taiwan, the flying saucer of Hawaii, or Springfield, Illinois' horseshoe. Its purpose, such as the roti john of Singapore, which translates roughly as white man's bread and was designed to appeal to the English colonists, or Australia's fairy bread, which is simply a whimsical name for what is essentially sprinkles glued to white bread using butter. There are a lot of ways sandwiches get their names, but some of the best and the hardest to get right are the sandwiches that are named after and dependent on a specific type of bread. Beef on weck is not beef on weck unless it's served on a Kimmelweck roll. You can't serve a Pueblan semita on a standard telera or bolillo. It must be the sesame-studded semita roll. The Maltese ftira, the Mexican pambazo, the muffaletta of New Orleans, or the bola yao of Hong Kong. None of these sandwiches can be right unless they're made with the right bread. And the truth is that all great sandwiches start not with great bread, but with the right bread, even if that bread is just ordinary. This bread is not ordinary. This is a kumru roll from the town of Çeşme in the Izmir province of Turkey, a summer vacation town on the west coast of Anatolia. The word kumru is a Turkish name for the Eurasian collared dove. The bread roll takes its name from its shape, narrowed to a point at either end but with a pudgy middle like the dove. And the sandwich takes its name from the bread, a hand-sized, sesame-crusted roll, leavened with a sourdough starter cultured from dried chickpeas. It is possibly the most unique bread I've ever made. The kumru sandwich, at its most basic, consists of a split kumru roll toasted on a griddle, filled with kaşar cheese that's also been toasted on the griddle. But in practice, the sandwich will almost always include griddled slices of sucuk, a Turkish sausage of beef or lamb mildly flavored with salt and garlic, black pepper, and cumin, though salami or even halal hot dogs may be used as well. It's generally dressed with tomato, pickled cucumbers, and pickled chilies, and sauces like mayonnaise and ketchup. And this is a good combination of flavors. I don't often give sausages that are made without pork fat their due. It is, along with salt and garlic, one of the trifecta of ingredients that I've often asserted are required to make a perfect sausage. But sucuk is better than I expect it to be, studded with bits of fat that render as it cooks, keeping the meat moist. This layer of hot sausage is blanketed in mild, buttery kaşar cheese, enhanced by the sweet, tart, juicy, and savory tomato. The Turkish pickles are closer to a German gherkin in flavor than to many of the Mediterranean pickled cucumbers I've had. They're sweet-ish with just a hint of spice. But the pickled chilies make up for that lack of aggression with a pungent brininess and a heat level a bit spicier than, say, a jalapeno. The rendered fat from the sucuk soaks into the highly flavorful bread, keeping the overall impression from being too dry. This bread is difficult to get right. I don't think I quite nailed it, though this was the best of 3 attempts I made. And that might be part of why this sandwich was, in decades past, limited only to Çeşme and nearby areas of Izmir. But I understand that you can get a kumru at dozens of different street vendors across Istanbul nowadays. I hope to see it spread to other countries as well. Let me know if there's a Turkish restaurant near you that carries this old-school regional treat.